Watch me. Alright, stay right there. Alright, let's search for... Oh, they're telling more people to join. See on the screen. Undefeated, join the video. Alright. Oh, they joined that way. Now I gotta click this. Alright. Yes. You. Should be going. Clicking on. Waiting.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey. Right before this, I had to move the camera because Christian goes, "No, I'm gonna look short."
Well, Bryce had to be in the video, so
I love it.
yeah. So we'll just say hi. Oh, it's gonna go shy for a couple minutes. So we'll just jump right in because honestly, normally I rarely have followers watch initially, and then it's kind of off the videos and stuff from there. So but so this is the second ever sermon for the song series. Please stop. And I wanted to talk to you guys. First, introduce yourselves so for the world, so that way this is 2/3 of the band Undefeated.
Yeah.
So before we talk about the song, introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Meredith. I play guitar and I'm lead vocals for the band Undefeated.
I'm Christian. I play drums for Undefeated.
And he also screams in our newest song, which we haven't released yet, but there's a little plug.
This is great. This is working on Christian's public speaking skills. So that way when you have a cough fit in the middle of a set, he'll be ready to go.
I know, right?
So,
that was so bad. That is literally the worst. I wasn't coughing. I was like choking. It was so bad.
The worst at public speaking.
Well, it's only going to get better, Christian. We're gonna have half the questions go to you tonight. So, but what I wanted to do was kind of talk about the song. Where Are You? I wanted to hear because when you talked about it, you said it came to you in like a matter of minutes. Like you said, it was one of the easiest songs you've ever written. And then when you listen to the lyrics, like there's so many, I feel like biblical stories that can go with it. So before we apply it kind of to life, I wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about, where the inspiration for the song came from.
Yeah, so a lot of songs for me, I take from quotes. I'll read something and be like, "Oh, hey, I like that," and I'll just kind of switch the quote around. This song, it didn't really. I was just kind of playing up in my room. It literally came to me in like 15 minutes. Some songs take months. This one, 15 minutes, 5-minute song, it was done. And one of the very first verses that is on the back of all their t-shirts, which is Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to stand still, or only be still. It kind of came out of that, but I had no meaning behind the song when I wrote it whatsoever. But as time goes on, more and more it comes into my life, and it speaks to me even though I wrote it. And so it's just kind of, everyone asks questions like, where is God? Like, this might be a really hard time, but at the same time, you always know God's covering you, but it doesn't feel that way all the time. So It's one of those where are you? It's what it's called. And I'm learning more and more where he is, even if I don't think he's there. So.
Nice. Christian, what's your take on the song, other than just banging on the drums?
It's like super interesting, like it's a pretty long song for us, I guess, because we've played it so many times. But once you like go back and listen to it, when you don't actually have to play, it can really touch like a different spot, I guess. You just hear stuff and you just, I don't know, kind of just get lost in the song.
Nice.
It's true. Honestly, the first time I listened to it, so it was when you guys introduced the video for it. And my first thought honestly was like, well, that's cool, but dang, it is kind of a long song. But then you listen to it more and more, and it's like, dang, there's so much truth behind that song. And I felt like every lyric was, a good lyric to have in it, because it's just like, you think about this world right now, right? Like, You know, it's kind of like you're walking through life in that song questioning like, all right, there's a whole bunch of
It's also,
stuff going on right now, you
it's
know,
also
and it's like,
low battery.
oh,
Sorry.
go ahead. Oh no.
That's good.
So
I
yeah,
have
so it's
charger
like,
on it.
you know, okay. So it's like, you know, you were in the song and it's kind of like, where are you, God? Like, where are you? And I love it because it's so real, like how we walk through life a lot of times, right? Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of just frustrated because it seems like nothing can go right for the longest time. And then all of a sudden you pause long enough and it's like the lyric in your song is like that still small voice that carried you through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's deep. And it just makes you like, as believers, especially now, like, I feel like this video is only fitting to be even on election night, to be honest with you, because there's so much stuff going on. And it's like, you know, as believers, we're kind of like, whoever wins this thing tonight, like, we know God's got his hand in it, you know? And it's like, but if we get so caught up in all the other nonsense that we don't pause, like you said in your Exodus verse there, it's so easy just to kind of get caught up and, you know, thrown off the loop. And so, like, just the lyrics behind it, it's like, at first you're like, all right, what's she going on? You know, what's she singing about? And then you get to the end. I love how it ties together. Like,
Yeah.
it just comes back to, you know, like that still small voice that carried you through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the biggest thing I feel like right now.
It is, yeah. It's also like the more I realize what that song means to me, it's also a lot of like trust, which is a weird thing for that song, but it's also realizing God does have you and he is walking out before you and behind you. And it's just realizing, oh, that was God.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, like, oh, that was what God sounds like. So
Well, and you know, I think the song in itself brought up a whole different aspect, which kind of tied back to Habakkuk. Like, he, you know, the Old Testament prophet, and like so much stuff is going on in the world, and he's kind of like, what in the world's going on? In the first like verse, he asks like 4 different questions, like, and he doesn't necessarily get the answer right away. But if you go throughout the story, he's like, I'm gonna read the last verse of it. He says in chapter 3, verse 18, he says, "Yet I'll rejoice in the Lord. I'll be joyful in God, my Savior. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of deer. He enables me to tread on heights." Like, it's just kind of like all
wait,
of between all that stuff.
I missed that.
What's that?
The feet of what? I missed that part.
He enables me to tread on the. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like, but Habakkuk, and I don't even know if you thought of that chapter at all, you know, even throughout the song, but it took me a few times, like, kind of, where are we going with this? But it was like, I feel like it fits the song perfectly because it was, again, just going back to
when you
this
read
concept.
it kind of, yeah. I hadn't, that wasn't one of the verses that I had realized, but like when you say it, it's like, oh yeah.
But, and so I think it's cool though, because I think what I want, like a bigger point I want to touch on is this idea, like, that it's completely okay to question where God is in a circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we almost just as Christians get caught in this concept of like, well, we had to have faith, and if we don't just say God's right there, then we're bad people. And I think that, you know, that's all good in theory, but it's not making us any stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we question like, God, where are you? And then we do the digging deeper, and then we sit still long enough, and then we actually see or feel that, you know, God's presence. Then it's like, dang, like you actually did see it, instead of just being like I know when we were trying to buy our house, it was the most frustrating process in the world because COVID slowed things down immensely. Everyone's like, well, you just got to trust God. You just got to trust God. And it's like the months go by, the months go by.
Say it, but how do you do it? Yeah.
Exactly. And I just think that it's something that we need to, like, I don't know, we have to be careful, I guess, as believers, to not just say like, well, you just need to trust God, and like make sure people understand like that it's okay to still say that you're a follower of Christ and still question, like, you know, where he is during certain times, you know, because I think that, like, that's the only way you draw to the conclusion of the song, right? Is like, you were still right there through it all. Like the whole song, you're questioning kind of like, where were you through this?
Mm-hmm.
And then pause and you're like, oh God, you're right there.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that that's so cool because it's just kind of like, sorry, Bryce is getting exhausted. He's been looking forward to this. And now he's like doing the flop. Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to really touch on that, right? Like, cause it's the idea of like getting back to the whole question. So like just the title of your song, you know, Where is it? Where are you? Or where were you? I want
Where
to
are
make sure I
you?
get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's like, but so a perfect example was like COVID, right? If we just think that like everything is just kind of crazy, I don't know. How do you grow from that? But then when you actually say, "Where are you,
That
God?"
was
and you look around,
one of the most interesting things for us, and not to be insensitive to people who lost people or got sick,
right?
but it made a time for the band to dig deeper and really figure out where we're going next in actual steps. And when do you have a time to literally like skill drill when you like things you don't want to do? No one wants to play to a metronome all the time, but it gave us time to like lock in tight for different songs and prepare us for the next like year or so. So
Right, right. And it took something like a pandemic
yeah.
to slow things down, right? So again, like you said, not to sound insensitive to it at all, but God's present even in that for each people. We just have to be willing to like kind of question where He is and grow from it. Like same thing for us as the ministry. Like we're still looking for that next direction, but it gave us this time to really slow down and be like, what do you really want us to do next? What is that next step? And like able to spend so much more time with the kids. Like if we look back at the last 6 months, even from March until let's say I can't do math. So let's say September, right? And it's kind of like if you actually, if we cut away from all of the, the nonsense and everything, it's like God's had His hand still on all of this. Like just in little things like, in different parts of the world, like the water clearing up, and small little things like that, where you can literally see God's beauty again. And so I don't know, like that song, I feel like could not be more timely than than the release for it all right now. And it's just it's so good.
Thank you.
And so yeah, no problem. So I wanted to see kind of. Let me just see. I had a few notes like that I really wanted to make sure that. Let's see. No, I don't think there's too much more really, other than the fact that like kind of tying it back to your song is that when we question it, kind of at least answers, right? And I think that it kind of is the important thing. Like, I always say like it's when the Bible talks about childlike faith, it's because children ask questions like nonstop, right? And we need to not be afraid to do that, to ask those questions over and over again. So I don't know again if any of that tied into your song or if it literally just kind of came to you and then the meaning kind of was deeper from there. But that's all kind of stuff that it really made me think about. Oh, crap. You there still? I'm losing somebody. Doing that? All right, let's go away from that. Technical difficulties. I'm thinking that it's on their end. So I guess I'll just keep talking for a few minutes until hopefully they come back. But just want to let people know out there that this is like the second installment. So if there's bands out there that would like to be a part of these next videos, yeah, Undefeated had to leave. If there's bands out there that want to be a part of these next videos, or if there's songs that you guys are hoping to hear a little bit more from the artists on, let me know, because I think this is a different way to get people to think about faith a little bit deeper than just hearing a sermon every week. Because again, this song I think is so powerful with just what it gets you to think about with life. And songs connect honestly in ways that maybe hearing a Bible verse just read won't necessarily. So I think that's why these are so important. I'm going to try to get Undefeated on here one more time. Let's send request. Hang on. So we'll just wait through this technical difficulty here. Looks like they're coming back. Hey guys. Are you the phone die? I can't hear anything. It's super slow motion.
Super.
Okay.
We're gonna try a different phone. Hold up.
Technical difficulties. I'm thanking. Right. It's just moving. Da-na-na. We're gonna give them another minute here. That's probably just people worrying about the election and they're posting away. They're up again. Let's try it. So yeah, so I was saying, like, if anybody, if there's songs out there, I'm hoping to get the season on here for their song "Hospital Beds," and start kind of with that fairly local scene, and then if this gets some traction and speaks to some people, we'll kind of keep going. They're gonna try to request again here. Okay.
Is that better?
Let's see. Okay, now I can hear you. Before it was like frozen on you guys both laughing.
Okay.
It must be because I don't know. My phone's pretty low. It might be from that.
So I just
where
wanted
we
to
live,
kind
we
of.
don't get good service.
Yeah, it's awesome. If it wasn't for Wi-Fi, I would have nothing at all here. So what I wanted to wrap up on my end with, and then kind of give you guys a shout out and just see if I, really missed anything, was again tying it back to your songs. This idea that God is everywhere. We just have to be willing to look. And I think that's such a huge thing for us as believers to take away, is that, like, through anything, God's there. But we just have to be willing to answer the questions and open our eyes and be still long enough to see and to listen. And I think that's the takeaway for Christians in general. Or
Sorry,
go ahead.
one of the questions we get a lot, or not get a lot, but is how do you hear from God? And my take is, honestly, if you're not hearing, just read your Bible and it will happen. But I'm curious, from a pastor's perspective, what answer would you give?
Honestly, it's the same thing, and it's
not to put you on the spot. But...
No, that's fine. It comes. I mean, I put you guys on the spot with this whole thing. So Meredith had messaged me, just go off topic for a second to give my brain. She's like, "So what questions are you going to ask?" And I'm like, "Well, I got one lined up, and that's about it." So they were willing to, they were gracious enough to take this with one question. But honestly, I think the whole hearing from God thing is, first of all, your mind has to be open to actually hear from God, for one. Because sometimes the answer he's giving you is not the answer that you want to hear. So you're like, well, that ain't God then. Like, forget about it. The Bible clearly, like, for me, like, my time that I generally hear from God is like 10 o'clock at night. That's like, because that's like my quiet time. That's when I make the time to come down, just turn on some music, read my Bible, read some other books, and just kind of have, my time. So I would say for people that are like, well, how do you hear from God? Or I'm not hearing. It's because we're not listening and we're not we're not giving him the time. And so find out what you want to do. I mean, sometimes it's like just putting on a sermon, and then it's like you're not going to hear necessarily an answer from God right away that you thought, but he's also giving you then that answer of like reaffirming, like, that I'm here, or you need to do that. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times where you're driving to work and I hear something, I was like, dang, that was good. And it was like just what I needed to hear, at that moment. But yeah, I think it really boils down to just, you got to be willing to listen and be still and to find that place. It's kind of funny. We went out hunting this last weekend, and we had finished up, and my dad, my brother, and I all said, like, first thing in the morning, like, it's the best time because it's completely quiet and we're sitting in our stand, and it's like that's where we're doing our praying, there. So there's so many different ways, I feel like, to hear from God, but it's just prioritizing that.
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
Thank you.
That's well said.
So I don't know. That was my big take. I wanted to give a shout out to you guys for a minute, and then just kind of see if there's anything you wanted to add, just in general conversation. But for anybody that doesn't know, Undefeated is from Lowville Way, and quite honestly, they put on an absolutely incredible show. Like, my brother and my sister-in-law don't often go to concerts, and when you guys had came to Peaceful Point, they absolutely loved you guys, and then we went when you guys were in Carthage, and my brother loved it, and he knows it. Like, he's not one that's impressed easily. And he's like, that was the best concert I've ever been to. Like, you guys, like, you know, like, and people think local, like, so you're thinking kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know. But these guys have lights, they've got smoke, they've got sound, like, they've literally got it all. And I think it's so cool because you guys are like a family unit, you know. So, you know, so you're, I guess, one of the younger brothers, the one that helps with the sound and stuff.
Yeah, that's Alex.
So he was so excited about the smoke stuff. So it was kind of like a running joke throughout the show. He's like, hey, we're going to do smoke right here. We're going to see if this one works right there. Yeah. But, like, I mean, to be like a local band, but to have, you know, everything that you guys have is amazing. Did I see you guys have a tour bus now?
Yeah,
was that a legit thing?
Yep.
Man.
Super
so,
excited.
Like, I don't know. It's just so cool to see, you know, not only a local band do so well and to put out some quality music, but also to have, like, the full-blown family support of it all.
They put in a lot.
So tell everyone where they can, you know, get your merch from, check out your music, all that stuff. You know, give yourself a shout out, and then anything else you wanted to.
Yeah. So our music is available anywhere you get music. So iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon. You can also get it off of YouTube, which is where our music videos are. And if you come to a live show, you can buy a signed CD from us, and you can also get t-shirts and wristbands, which we are working on a website right now that is I'm designing it, so it's in the making. It's in the making. Yeah, it's fun. And if you want anything, you can message the band page, which is Undefeated Official Music on Facebook and undefeated_official on Instagram.
Yep, and they've got, what do you have, 2 or 3 different shirt designs out? 2, right?
3.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
3?
2 the same design, but different colors.
Okay. Yeah, we've got our household rocks a couple of them, and they're even. I mean, it's quality gear too. You know, it's not just like shrink right away. So
thank you.
For real, anybody tuning into this, seriously, check out Undefeated. Check out their stuff. I mean, you know, they don't do it for the money, but the extra income, the extra support, the extra followers on Spotify, all that stuff is just.
It does.
It
really helps so much. You might think one follow doesn't matter, but it really does.
And it makes you feel better too, right? Because you guys put a lot of time and effort into the music piece of everything. So I want to just talk about a different issue really quick because you kind of alluded to it a little. The screaming from Christian, where's that? Like, what led to that in the new song? Is that just a new style you guys are trying to go with, or because you did it in the concert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love like screaming heavy metal, like full blown, just like that's like my music type, and I've wanted to scream for about a year and a half now. So I've just been like working on it, you know, fixing it, like doing like tunnels and like highs and stuff. And then I was like, hey, Meredith, can we write a song where I scream? And she's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
So I said, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, it kind of came out, and it sounds pretty good. So I'm like super excited about that.
Yeah, this new song is called Land of the Dead. We've played it a couple during the live shows. And now the music video is filmed. It's being edited. Well, I edit, but yeah, he directed this one completely by himself.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I was super impressed. But yeah, the screaming, I like it, but I wouldn't listen to a whole song with it. So it's super interesting. That's why, like, it's interesting to see how the different sounds work together. Like heavy metal and more, I guess alternative metal is what I'm more into, like the hard rock alternative metal. But it was super cool listening to him grow from just regular singing, I guess, you know, to a whole different vocal technique.
Basically.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's so cool to see, though, Christian's confidence level, like, on the drums. Because he really is. For those of us out there, like when Meredith was having this coughing fit, and she was like kind of doing introductions, and it just put Christian like on the spot. He was like, he clammed up. He's like, hi, I'm the. And so to see him like just like in his element, like on the drums and just doing that, it's like a whole.
I don't know. I turn into someone completely different when I get behind a set. I learned a while ago that if you're gonna be like part of a band and like I like control a lot of what happens up there. I'm the person that either starts the song or keeps the song going. And so you have to grow into like your own separate like beast, I guess. And once you like find like you've played it many times, that once you're confident in what you can do, you can just start doing like super crazy stuff like head banging, head banging, like I don't know, just like different stick flips and other stuff, and just really get into the groove, and it just makes the show feel better, more energized, and yeah.
It's
Especially
super
when you guys all.
interesting when. Sorry?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, you were loading, so I wasn't. I couldn't hear
Oh.
what you said. I was just gonna say that it's because, of course, we have like you practice as a band a lot, to the point where our songs are so like muscle memory that we won't be paying attention to what we're playing, and then all of a sudden you'll like fall back in yourself. You'll be like, oh shoot, where am I?
Yeah.
It's not fun when it happens, but it's kind of funny because that means you have it so memorized that you're not paying attention to it.
That you're right. Well, I actually had a different. It was a lady I used to work with, and she was also a massage therapist, and she would tell me that it became such muscle memory for them to give a massage, even that they would literally like fall asleep while they were doing it. And I'm like, I don't even know how that's possible, but I guess it just is. You practice. Okay, you guys back again? I think so.
Yeah. We had a loading for you, so we were like, we'll just wait.
So really, that's all that I had. I just again thought it was such a timely and powerful song. Honestly, like lyrically, it's great. Musically, you guys tackle everything, and it's just something like said that we need to understand that it's completely okay to question God, but at the end of the day, when you look around, God's everywhere. We just have to be still long enough to really hear Him. And I hope that if no one takes anything away from this chat or the song, it's exactly that. Like, you know, and it's great because in your video, you're sitting in the church when you're doing it. And I don't know that the outfits and everything, they just
down the road from us.
Okay, so that wasn't at the Carthage church then?
No.
I was trying to figure out where it was. Okay.
Yep, it's in Mennonite.
Yeah, it's a Mennonite.
Is it a Mennonite church?
No power.
Yeah, there was no power. We filmed in 0-degree weather.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh man.
Maybe that's the reason for the somber faces then throughout the video. But it worked though. You know, the whole thing worked because it was just kind of like, and I think oftentimes like people will go to church, like, you know, but then it'll just kind of be there. Mm-hmm. And at a time where they should be kind of questioning God and drawing close to them, like they're not because they're afraid to ask those questions. You know, so it's kind of like as you guys are sitting in that pew, just kind of like, you know, and I think we all get caught up in that. Like, and that's what we got to realize. Like, it's okay to let go. It's okay to get out of that zone. It's like, oh, everything's gravy. Like, you know, I guess it's my biggest.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like I think that's my biggest pet peeve in Christianity is that people are like afraid to let go and ask the questions and be like, this is going on right now. What the heck? You know? But then when you actually ask the questions and you're willing to open up to God and to a pastor or to a close friend or whatever, you know, like you're going to draw so much closer and hear that voice. So that's everything that I've got. I want to thank you guys for coming out, like, you know, tuning in. This will eventually get uploaded. My guy is sometimes quick and sometimes he gets busy doing his other job. So either tonight, tomorrow, or the next day. But do you have anything else you guys want to add before we cut it out or anything?
We love everyone. We love supporters. We love other bands. It's great. Just go out and support local bands and our stuff, especially us. Wink, wink. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
It was great talking with you.
Wait, Meredith, so one last question. Mm-hmm. How many of your guitars are named?
All of them.
All of them. Can you share the names before we depart?
Yeah. I don't have I have one up here, but the others are downstairs. So I have two acoustics. The black one's name is Juliet with two T's. And my other acoustic that I play during shows is Tekoa Rain. My electric is Willow, and my bass is Othello.
Wow. You're all over the map with those names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian, you don't name your drums or anything, do you?
Kick, snare, high tom, right tom.
He did name the tour bus, though. It has been christened
I forgot.
Nellie Wilson.
Oh yeah, Nellie Wilson.
Nellie Wilson. Oh, Lord help us all. So listen, y'all need to, anybody listening, find these guys a venue that they can do. There's still loopholes around this stuff that you can call it worship.
Yeah.
So get Nell. Wait, what? Willie? Nell? I'm confused.
Nellie Wilson.
Get Nellie Wilson on the road and support Undefeated, all right? Man. All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.